Hey everybody, how's it going? Today, let's take a detailed look at the 2014 Mercedes-Benz GL63 AMG. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the GL63. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, as well as show you a bunch of the unique aspects of the interior as well as exterior. And before I begin, I'd like to take a moment to extend a big thanks and special shout out to Mercedes-Benz of South Charlotte, located in Pineville, North Carolina, for inviting me out and allowing me to film the 2014 Mercedes-Benz GL63 AMG. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. Now the GL does feature a remote smart key access system, so you can wirelessly lock and unlock the vehicle via the touch sensors on the door handle. To lock, all you have to do is just tap the little depress portion on each handle. It automatically locks and tilts in the mirrors. Then after waiting a second, just grab the handle, there's a touch sensor behind, and it automatically unlocks the vehicle. If you fail to close the door all the way, there's an electromechanical mechanism that will also bring it close to the frame. The exterior color is known as steel gray metallic, featuring the premium two-tone Designo Nappa leather interior of porcelain and black leather with black color accent stitching, as well as black piano lacquer wood trim. And along with that smart key system, there's also a remote push to ignition via the aluminum accented button on the dash. All I have to do to start is put your foot on the brake and hit the button to go. Beautiful. The GL63 features specific AMG calibrated electromechanical speed-sensitive rack and pinion power steering and a Designo 4-spoke unique leather-wrapped steering wheel with black lacquer piano veneer up top as well as down below, with some accenting in aluminum, specifically highlighting your multifunction controls. Also standard is AMG's 7-speed speed shift automatic transmission, controlled via the stalk to the right of the steering column. To activate, just put your foot on the brake and tip it down to drive. Half a click up for neutral, and then all the way up for reverse. To put it in park, hit the chrome accented button to the right. Your AMG transmission controller is located in the right-hand side button stack of the center console, consisting of controlled efficiency, sport mode, as well as manual mode. Controlled efficiency does exactly what it sounds, as it gears the car for better fuel economy. There's also a standard Eco start-stop feature, so when the vehicle comes to a full stop at a stop sign or a stop light, when you have the system activated, it'll momentarily shut the vehicle off to save a little bit of fuel. Once you're ready to go, just let your foot off the brake and get ready to hit the pedal. It automatically reignites, so there's no lag in takeoff. Sport mode raises the shift points to give a little bit better performance out of the transmission, and then manual mode allows full manual shiftability via the paddles behind the steering wheel with rev matching downshifts and a little bit of that AMG unique throttle blur. Another really neat thing about the GL, and also seen in some of the other newest Mercedes products, when you put the vehicle in reverse, your backup camera automatically appears in your 7-inch LCD display with guidance lines to automatically adjust as you turn the wheel. What the cool thing about this system is, though, is the fact that the vehicle features stereoscopic cameras located all the way around the vehicle for true 360-degree camera views. So right now we're in a top-down view to the left, as well as the standard backup camera to the right. You can use the command controller in the center console to bring it full screen, or back to the 360-degree view. Clicking all the way up allows you to go between the different modes. Also utilizing your parking sensors, give you side profile views, front and back, and top down. Definitely quite a neat system. It definitely makes driving such a large vehicle into tighter parking spaces a whole lot easier. Change your brightness off to the right. And so, we'll go ahead and flip on the automatic projector headlamps, rear fog lamps, as well as the hazards. All 4 windows are fully automatic, of course, with laminated glass for better safety and noise isolation. So let's go and check out the exterior, shall we? You'll also notice that the interior of the vehicle will chime, letting you know it's also checked to the proximity key fob. Last year for 2013, the Mercedes GL class received its first thorough refresh since it first hit the market back in 2007. The full-size people hauler gained a refreshed body with more curves and definition, in addition to a fully modern interior and updated power across the board from the GL350 BlueTech diesel to the range-topping GL550. The biggest news for the year had to be the introduction of an all-new AMG variant, known as the GL63 AMG, blending just about every luxury feature imaginable and 550 horsepower from a twin-turbo V8, all in a vehicle that can comfortably sit 7 people. AMG has always been known for dosing up mild-mannered street vehicles into over-the-top performers, but the GL63 might as well be one of the most wild and unexpected creations yet. Essentially the ultimate sleeper for those needing the extra space. The GL represents the first full-size SUV with 3 rows of seats to come from Germany, followed shortly by the Audi Q7 and refreshed BMW X5, which would later have a 3rd row option. Most SUVs in this category at the time were traditional body-on-frame types, such as the Cadillac Escalade, Infiniti QX56, and the Lexus LX, not to mention Mercedes' own G-Class or Geländewagen. When the GL debuted, it featured a unibody chassis based on the architecture found in the smaller ML and R-Class wagon, with production based at Mercedes' US-based plant in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. While primarily built for the American market, it's also sold overseas, though in smaller numbers. You can think of it as a widened and elongated version of the ML platform. This design allowed for better road manners and smoothness for its size, more like a car rather than a truck. For 2014, not much has changed aside from a few additional interior features. Like I said, the majority of the changes were seen in 2013. Originally, the GL was actually being designed to replace the iconic G-Class. With immense cult following the Geländewagen has developed over the years, it was decided against replacing but offering it alongside as a more practical and cost-effective alternative to families who don't need a vehicle with roots dating back to military days. When it came out, the GL featured very subdued styling. While more rounded than the sharp-edged G-Class, it was designed with similar cues of toughness and solidity without it being polarizing. You can even make similarities to the ML, even though the GL is more formal and traditional in its styling. The thorough refresh begins with more aggressive trapezoidal air intakes with LED daytime running lamps and xenon headlamps with LED turn signals and parking lamps. The sides are also vastly more sculpted with more prominent character lines and scallops, while the roofline remains similar with optional 3-window panoramic roof. Out back, the restyled tail lamps now feature LEDs, while similar smooth lines mimic the rest of the vehicle. Styling for the GL63 differs only slightly than the standard vehicles. Changes consist of AMG-specific front and rear fascias with larger, more aggressive air intakes up front to help feed the engine, intercoolers, and oil coolers, with quad AMG exhaust outlets out back. Black mesh also highlights the fascias, while matte chrome trails the underside. The fenders are also flared for a more wide stance, while special badging reminds you of that special something under the hood. The GL63 comes with a permanent 4MATIC all-wheel drive system with a standard torque split of 40 and 60% between the front and rear. With this is the AMG Ride Control Sport suspension with Airmatic package that consists of air suspension, special struts, automatic self-leveling function, as well as adaptive damping with front and rear anti-roll bars. The dampers have 2 settings, Comfort and Sport, and adapt automatically to changing road conditions and driving characteristics, working to reduce body roll and keep a steady profile through corners, especially over the standard vehicle. The GL63 is actually able to pull a very respectable 0.84 G in lateral cornering forces on the skid pad. At higher speed, the air suspension gradually lowers the GL63 to decrease drag and increase stability, while it can also be raised for clearing objects. With four-wheel electronic traction control, torque can be sent to an individual wheel if necessary to counteract other wheels may be experiencing slip. Standard GLs have a 7.9-inch ground clearance with 19.3 inches of fording depth. With an optional off-road package for standard GL class models, it adds two locking differentials, front and rear underbody skid plates, and an adaptive damping system. It increases the capabilities of clearance to 10.9 inches and 23.6 inches of fording depth. It also has upwards of 7,500 pounds towing capacity for the AMG model. The AMG model features unique 21-inch polished twin 5-spoke aluminum alloy wheels wrapped in high-performance 295/40 all-season tires. Brakes are also bigger to handle the increased power demands. Up front, you have large 15.4-inch cross-drilled and slotted ventilated discs with optional red 6-piston fixed calipers, and in back you have 13.6-inch discs with single-piston sliding calipers. With this setup, the GL63 has the ability to stop from 60 miles an hour in a remarkable 104 feet, besting essentially everything else in its class. As far as the suspension, the GL63 features an AMG-tuned 4-wheel independent setup with double wishbones in front and a multi-link rear. In addition, as I touched on earlier, the AMG also features adaptive dampers, as well as the Airmatic Air Ride Sport suspension system. Overall length is 202.6 inches with a width of 84.3 inches and a height of 72.8 inches. Total curb weight, depending on how equipped, is around 5,800 pounds. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. The GL63 features an all-aluminum, twin-turbocharged and intercooled, hand-built, dual-overhead cam, 32-valve, 5.5-liter V8 with variable valve timing and direct injection. It's the same power plant found in the newest ML63 equipped with the optional performance package. It produces a healthy 550 horsepower at 5750 RPM and 560 pound-feet of torque at a relatively low 2000 RPM. This translates to 0 to 60 times of 4.8 seconds, with quarter-mile times of 13.2 seconds at 109 miles an hour. Top speed is limited to 155 miles an hour. As far as fuel economy, with a 26.4-gallon tank and running on required premium fuel, expect a range between 13 miles to a gallon in the city and 17 on the highway. The interior of the new GL is all new with a refreshed styling that mimics what you would find in the newest generation ML. Being that the GL is the brand's flagship SUV, it boasts the highest level of build quality and refinement, not that far off from the level of an S-Class. Everything that isn't wrapped in soft leather is accented by aluminum or your choice of wood veneers. While leatherette is standard in the base GLs as far as the seating material, a variety of leathers are also available, including the top-line Designo trim like you see here, with black color accent stitching and unique touches found throughout. And of course, all of your power accessories are located on the door, including your power folding mirrors, lock and unlock, seat controls, as well as 3-person memory for both the driver and passenger seats. Down below, you also have a button for your full power liftgate, as well as opening up the rear air vents for the third row passengers. The unique AMG Sport leather bucket seats in the GL63 feature a fantastic amount of comfort and support. Plenty of lateral grip up top and down below, with just enough padding in all of the right places. The seats themselves, specifically in the Designo trim, feature black color accent stitch with perforations for their heating and cooling functions. The seats are also of multi-contour design with a fantastic amount of adjustments for the bolstering, lumbar, and more, and I'll talk about that all when we go through the command system in just a second. The attention to detail is absolutely wonderful with fully adjustable headrests as well as seatbelts and specific AMG tags on the back of the seats. Logoed illuminated aluminum door sill plaques as well as logoed floor mats, aluminum sport pedals, and a standard driver knee airbag. Just about the entire portion of the dash is wrapped in soft leather with white color accent stitching as you come across the speedometer cluster extending to the length of the vehicle. The steering wheel is power tilt telescoping with heat, and the headliner is wrapped in soft Alcantara. The unique thing about the GL is its full panoramic glass roof with a sunroof for each row of passengers. So let's go ahead and see your seconds. And we'll go ahead and shut her up. Nice tight solid door panels as you'd expect. Now for the next part, we're going to talk about the infotainment system, ergonomics, as well as some of the climate control features and in-depth customization options for the Mercedes GL. To do that, we're going to cut away to an ML63 real fast, 2014 model. It has the exact same system and functionality layout. The only difference is the GL63 comes standard with a tri-zone climate control system, whereas the ML that we're going to talk about has a dual-zone climate control system. Now the ML63 features the premium Harman Kardon Logic 7 digital audio system, packing 830 watts and 13 speakers, with Dolby Digital DTS 5.1 surround sound. And it's all fed through the Mercedes Command System, a mobile media navigation telemetrics interface, and a 7-inch LCD color display. Everything is controlled via the remote mounted on the center console. The command controller is accented in aluminum and has your back clear button, as well as some auxiliary functions, and I'll show that in just a second. The sound system definitely packs a punch. Side curtain airbags, grip handles, card holder and auxiliary sunshade, as well as an auto-dimming view mirror with garage home link located down below, as well as your SOS emergency roadside assistance right above that. The top stack houses your Bluetooth microphone, interior illumination, and reading lamps, all LED, as well as the controls for your fully automatic sunroof and sunshade for both the front and rear glass. Only the front glass is fully operational, with a wind deflector that pops up, and then pull it again, close the sunshades. And they are perforated, so they still let in a little bit of ambient light, not to mention a padded sunglass container. Now the command system really is quite easy. Like I said, it's all controlled via this little remote in the center console. Click up, down, left and right, scroll between your different options, and push down to select a particular option. Now basically how it works is you have 3 different tiers. Up top, where you can scroll between the different options, click the wheel down to go to the middle, where you can tune your radio station, and then down one more to go to the bottom settings. This is your main radio screen for FM as well as HD radio, but satellite radio is pretty similar. If you go all the way to the bottom, hit radio, you can manually enter frequency as well as toggle HD radio on or off, your preset stations. If you hit info, it changes between the different screens showing your radio, song, and artist information, as well as the manual tuner. It's kind of like a retro radio dial. Change between satellite radio, FM, AM, as well as the vehicle's weather band.
On Monday, December 16th, at Charlotte Douglas International Airport.
If we go back up to audio, it'll bring up all the different media options for the vehicle, including your satellite radio, like I said, in-dash CD player, SD card input, USB storage, iPod auxiliary integration, as well as hands-free Bluetooth streaming of audio. Now this system is actually an 80 gigabyte hard drive based navigation system. The majority of that is for all the other vehicle systems, including navigation, your destination input, your contacts for your Bluetooth telephone. About 10 gigabytes or so are used for what Mercedes calls the music register, which basically is a lot of part of the hard drive for MP3 files. So you can load up MP3 files and store them like a big iPod. While on the audio screens, there's usually some different options between the different screens depending on if you're an FM satellite radio, one of these auxiliary settings, but you always have the sound in the bottom right. Your different equalizer adjustments, balance fade, as well as turning on your surround sound. If we go back up to navigation, pulls up your navigation screen, and if you hit navigation again, it brings up all the settings. Make it full screen, push down on the wheel to bring it back, your easy to use destination input, real-time traffic updates, as well as searching points of interest. Your hands-free Bluetooth telephone will automatically ask you to pair it, and you can store phone numbers. There's a integrated address book as well for contacts, all through the voice recognition system. It's also DVD compatible, so you can load up the DVDs, and of course when it's safe, you can play videos on the system. The system settings brings up an analog clock. You can adjust the time, as well as some of your personalizable options, activating your camera, so you don't always have to be in reverse. And all the way to the far right, this little world icon brings up your apps, internet connectivity, internet streaming of radio like Pandora, as well as your Sirius real-time weather updates. Extended forecasts, maps, we can zoom on in. All pretty comprehensive. And your owner's manual is also loaded on this system. But really, in a nutshell, those are all the basic features of the command system in the ML63. As we continue down, you see the signature Designo black piano veneer trim, as well as polished aluminum highlighting some of the center stack. The controls down below are also accented in aluminum. Basically, a lot of this controls many of your media as well as telephone and other radio functions, just like you would go through the command system. So you have manual buttons here for the different commands, as well as an off and on hook button for your telephone. The buttons over here are an integrated dialing pad, also for your phone or for your preset stations. CD changer, SD card input, seek and scan, and down below here, 3-stage heated, as well as ventilated seating. Traction control, parking sensors, as well as an active eco mode. When activated, it actually contains a auto start stop feature. So when the vehicle stops at a stop sign or stops at a stoplight, it'll momentarily shut it off to save a little bit of fuel. And when you let your foot off the brake to go and accelerate, it automatically reignites and you're ready for takeoff. Your leather continues down the center console, all the way to the rear. And there's also a standard dual-zone electronic automatic climate control. With your temperature adjustments on either side, it automatically shows up in the command system. With your fan speed, different zones, front and rear defrost. A little bit of storage up front. Pull open the veneer housing. And you have 2 adjustable cup holders of different sizes. They're also heated and cooling via this button here. They also illuminate blue for cold and red for hot. The lighter, ashtray and power outlet. A little bit of storage here. The buttons, like I mentioned earlier, back, clear. This button right here will actually bring up your analog clock. The button next to that will dim the screen. The button stacked to the right consists of your AMG transmission controller, like I touched on earlier, adaptive dampers, raising and lowering the vehicle via the aromatic adaptive air ride suspension, as well as downhill assist. And when you change the modes of the dampers, it automatically shows up in your driver info system. In the left-hand stack is your basic command controller, like I touched on earlier, but in the GL you also have a controller right here for the multi-contour seats. If you hit it, it automatically brings it up in the screen for all the myriad of adjustments that you could do, as well as activation of your massage feature. So you can adjust the side bolstering, your leg extension, your lumbar, the massage, the variety of settings, and you'll actually feel it pulsate behind you. It's pretty neat, all activated via air compression. It's essentially silent. All of this can also be done for either the driver or passenger seat. Your padded leather console with 2 opening doors, a little bit of storage in front of that. To open, just pull up this little flap here. There's a removable storage tray, as well as a good sized storage well that also houses your USB, iPod, and auxiliary integration. As far as the steering wheel, on the right hand side are your radio controls, hands-free telephone and voice commands. Help.
This device cannot be voice operated. The following devices are voice controllable: navigation, address book, telephone, radio, audio CD, audio DVD, or MP3.
Cancel.
Cancel.
So, aside from the Bluetooth system, you can control pretty much every single aspect of the vehicle, from multimedia to navigation. On the left-hand side is your driver info system for the LCD screen in between the speedometer cluster. As far as the driver info system, you basically just utilize the little driver information controller in the left-hand side of the steering wheel like I showed you earlier. By clicking left and right, you can go between the different options. essentially what you can view in the command system, as well as your safety systems, pre-safe collision, detention assist, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control, and more. Service intervals, customization options, as well as an AMG screen with vehicle diagnostics, lap times with the integrated launch control system, as well as what drive mode you're in, gear, if you have traction on, as well as the different adaptive dampers. Your night vision camera, only activated at night, is located to the right, whereas your electronic parking brake is located down below. Just push in to activate, and put your foot on the brake and pull out to deactivate. Alrighty. We're going to shut her down. Auto tilt telescoping steering wheel. And we're going to check out the back seat. Now, backseat passengers in the AMG get treated with the same amount of immense luxury as the front. With the padded leather accenting, as well as the unique AMG trim, a leather bench seat up front, as well as a full third row seat. You can see the stitched accenting coming across the top with the black piano veneer. Storage down below. Not to mention sunshades. Just grab it, pull it all the way over, and lock it to the other side. That goes the same for both windows in the back. The seats are also beautifully soft, with wonderful attention to detail just like the front, with the porcelain leather and the black color accent stitching. Illumination down on the floor. And for added practicality, the middle row seats along with the rear seats can fold completely flat to allow a completely open, flat loading space all the way to the front seats. But what's really neat is the fact that they can completely tumble either manually or full powered. Basically, by utilizing a combination of levers as well as pulleys, you can tumble the seat forward yourself, or just hit the little powered button at the top of the seat. It'll collapse the headrest, fold it down, and tumble it up, making hopping into the rear quite easy. Now, what's nice about the GL and the fact that these seats fold up like this and how open the interior is that getting into the third row seat is really easy, especially for taller individuals. Now, I'm 5'11", and typically for shorter individuals this really isn't that big of a deal, but these headrests could be put completely down just like the middle row seats, which adds to a little bit better visibility out the back window. So, for better comfort, I suggest go ahead and putting them up if you have passengers back here. But what I'm even more impressed about the GL is the fact that there is so much rear space back here. I'll show leg space in just a second, but head space, I'm about 5'11". I have at least maybe 4.5, 5 inches, somewhere around there of extra usable space. There's also some room to stretch out, depending on if you have somebody sitting in the seat next to you or not. And while you do have the Alcantara coming across the pillars and headliner back here, there's also some leather padding across the armrests with cup holders, but this panel right here is just more traditional hard plastic. It doesn't have the leather accenting as the front two doors have. Now, as far as leg space, it really depends on the position of the second row seat. Now, I haven't reclined back as far as it will go, and leg room is a little bit tight. I mean, I can stretch my legs out a little bit and spread apart, which makes it totally livable for a little bit of an extended period of time. It will be a little bit tight, especially if you have two people my height sitting back here trying to fight for leg space. Overall, I would recommend someone of my height or taller to sit in the middle row seat unless you absolutely have to sit back here. But the back seat is a nice place to be. It's comfortable, the seats have nice support. It's not like some of the other full-sized SUVs out there that have a level floor up in the middle row and then jack it all up for the back, which makes you sit kind of like this. This is actually really, really nice back here, and I would definitely recommend it for a vehicle that you're going to take a larger family on for an extended period of travel. But what's also nice back here is that our cup holders, there's adjustable air vents up here, as well as reading lamps. That also houses your LED parking sensors indicator up top for the driver, of course. And to get back out, if somebody forgets and leaves you back here, just hit that button on top, and it folds back. Simple as that. So let's go ahead and hop in the middle row seat, and I'll show you a little bit more about that. Now, like I said in the third row seat, Typically, if you don't have passengers sitting back here, I would recommend keeping the headrest down for better visibility at the back. Otherwise, just grab them, push them up, and they'll lock in place. A nice tall opening allows easy entry and exit. Up top, you have some reading lamps, coat hooks, grip handles, and adjustable air vents. You also have 2 air vents in the center console here with your adjustable climate control and 3-stage heated seats, which I'll show in person in just a second. Fold-out armrest. It's also padded with 2 adjustable cup holders. For taller individuals, the middle row seat is definitely a whole lot more comfortable. It's almost irrelevant to talk about room because for a 5'11" individual, there's probably 5.5 inches, 6 inches, depending on where you tilt your head. The seats are also fully reclining, like I said earlier. So you can bring it up, that's straight up, and then all the way back to kind of kick back and relax. Stick your feet up under the seat. There's a little bit of hardware, but not a lot, so you can stick it up under a little bit more and stretch out. There's also some floor illumination, as well as storage pockets behind the seats. Like I said, your climate control and heated seats are located in that little stack there. There's some storage, as well as a pop-out storage tray. And an extra 12-volt power outlet down below. Plus, you gotta love the touch of the 3 glass sunroofs. Not to mention air vents in the B-pillar, so with all the ones that you have back here, you're really quite covered. So, let's go and check out the rest of the vehicle, shall we? Open up the power liftgate of the GL and you'll find a respectable 16 cubic feet of cargo space with all of the seats in their upright position. There's aluminum entry guards both on the bumper and the inside of the threshold, plenty of cargo tie-downs, as well as a power outlet and illumination with a little bit of storage off to the far right. Opening up the bottom reveals your spare tire and all of your jacking equipment. Now, like I said, the middle row seats are fully powered, as are the back. Press those little switches there and they automatically fold down completely flat. Folding both the middle row as well as the third row seats down reveals a maximum cargo capacity of 93.8 cubic feet, quite substantial. You also have the same power adjustments as well as 3-person memory for the passenger seat.